Oh, hi. I'm just sitting here reading some of my favorite reviews from film critic Roger Ebert, who might be my favorite critic of all time and just one of my favorite writers. Here, let me tell you a couple real quick. The movie is an assault on the eyes, the ears, the brain, common sense, and the human desire to be entertained. No matter what they're charging to get in, it's worth more to get out. Armageddon reportedly used the services of 9 writers. Why did it need any? Dialogue is either shouted one-liners or romantic drivel. "It's gonna blow!" is used so many times I wonder if every single writer used it once, and then sat back from his word processor, with a contented smile on his face, another day's work done. Another one. I had a colonoscopy once, and they let me watch it on TV. It was more entertaining than The Brown Bunny. Mad Dog Time is the first movie I've seen that does not improve on the sight of a blank screen viewed for the same length of time. Oh, I've seen bad movies before, but they usually made me care about how bad they were. Watching Mad Dog Time is like waiting for the bus in a city where you're not sure they even have a bus line. Mad Dog Time should be cut into free ukulele picks for the poor. This is a review for the infamously bad 1998 Godzilla film starring Matthew Broderick. Going to see Godzilla at the Palais of the Cannes Film Festival is like attending a satanic ritual in St. Peter's Basilica. It's a rebuke to the faith that the building represents. Cannes touchingly adheres to a belief that film can be intelligent, moving, and grand. Godzilla is a big, ugly, ungainly device to give teenagers the impression they are seeing a movie. Oh, damn. Finally, one last one that I absolutely love. It's not bad in any usual way. It's bad in a new way, all its own. There is something extraterrestrial about it. As if it's based on the sense of humor of an alien race with a completely different relationship to the physical universe. The movie is so odd, it's most worth seeing just because we'll never see anything like it again. I hope. Good evening and welcome to yet another edition of Movie Club. My name is Patrick Smith and I'll be your host and curator tonight. And as the curator, I'm delighted to share this film with you. Because throughout pretty much every single one of these intros, I've probably mentioned Roger Ebert, or at least the quote that I love of his so much, in pretty much every single one. His quote was the crux of me doing the Black Voices in Cinema series. And it's his critical voice that influenced so much of what I would end up doing and what I was passionate about and what I studied in college. Hell, just look at this stack right here. Right here we have the Associated Press style book, a reference to the fact that he was a journalist who wrote about film. I studied journalism, and a lot of that can be attributed to writers like Roger Ebert, who inspired me and made me believe that I could have a career in this field. Even this video series is, in a way, a form of film criticism. The whole idea behind this series is essentially for me to wax film criticism, deliver some quick trivia in the style of the Turner Classic Movies series, and then screen the movie. That's what the point of this is. It's to take away the paralyzation that comes with trying to screen a movie or just watch a movie on Netflix. I mean, it's safe to say that without Roger Ebert that I might not be doing a series like this. Without critics like him, I probably wouldn't have the academic look at cinema that I do. And it's the groundwork that he's laid that, I mean, you can pretty much bring up the name of Roger Ebert around your parents and they at least vaguely know who he is. That's how important to cinema he is, that even people who just kind of watch it for escapism are aware of Roger Ebert's work to some degree. When I discovered this documentary a couple years ago, I immediately fell in love with the story that it tells about Roger. But I also learned from him to support the smaller films, the films that swing for the fences, the films that are at least trying something. And I don't always agree with Roger's perspective on cinema. I mean, he was not a huge lover of the horror genre, which is my personal favorite. And that's fair, because he openly admitted that his opinion, his articles, were just simply opinions. They weren't supposed to be taken as gospel fact.
I think one of the faults that I see with beginning critics is that they try to write sort of what I call a very formal kind of speech, a college writing course speech or high school speech, where you don't feel that the person is really there. They're writing into some adult form. They feel, as a beginning writer, they feel nervous about themselves. They don't know, literally, they don't know their own voice.
In other words, what you're saying is they haven't developed a personal tone.
Correct.
I think that one of the things that I feel about young people writing, or any criticism at all by anybody of any age, is either implicitly or not, it's in the first person.
Correct.
And it's not a science, and you're not talking about the truth, and you're not saying, this is what happened. What you're saying is, this is what happened to me. This is how I feel. I almost think that in journalism school, they should make all reviews and criticisms be in the first person to remind people that it's their own view and not some kind of a scientific, objective overview, because there's no such thing as objectivity in the arts. It's all subjective, and you might as well admit that.
If you tended to align with Ebert's perspective on certain genres and films, then you could take his word as gospel for those movies and avoid the ones that you don't need to see. And for the genres that maybe he covered that you didn't agree with him on, you knew that you need to find a different critic who maybe more agreed with your stylistic choices. Instead of going to the cinemas to just escape our daily lives, we go to the cinemas to experience different perspectives. And that's why Ebert was so famous for saying that films are engines that create empathy. We can look at all these different characters and understand the perspective of the villain, understand the perspective of the heroes, and understand the perspective of the people that are caught in between those conflicts. And it's why cinema as an art form has lasted as long as it has, and why it's still so important, and why it matters so much. If you grew up like me and you went to Blockbuster all the time, you probably noticed the 2 thumbs up on a bunch of movies in those small video stores crowded with new releases and old films alike. And it's because of this that people were willing to check out movies they maybe never would have tried before. Life itself isn't just about what Roger did for a living. It's about his theology on life. And nowhere is that more apparent than in the opening and closing scenes of this film. The film literally opens with Roger's local Cineplex doing a tribute to him posthumously. We know the terminus of this film because Roger passed away a year before this film was finally released. And that's the whole point of the film. That we're all actors in our own stories, but we're also actors in other people's stories. And it is through these confluence of events, through these weird circumstances that connects us to other people. And it's through these connections that we can truly start to understand life itself. Roger had such a zest for life when he wasn't just writing about film. And I think it's really apparent in the life that he lived, in the stories that he tells. It's a fascinating look into one man's life who, whether you are super aware of his work or not, he's one of the most fascinating writers in modern history. In that, there's probably a movie in your house with a quote from Roger on it. Probably a lot of movies. He lived such a full and interesting life, and tonight we're going to see just a small part of that. We're going to see Roger's story. Warts and all. It's a beautiful story. Not just about film, but about life itself. This is a film where we know the end destination of it. But that doesn't change how powerful it can be. And in a way, we all know that the best things will come to an end. But that doesn't change the fact they're still beautiful and full of vibrancy and life. And that's why I'm so proud to present this incredible 2014 documentary from Steve James, Life Itself.